People usually think gender looks like this, but what it really looks like is this. 1 out of 200 people is or identifies as trans, which would mean out of the 7 billion people on Earth, there's around 35 million trans people. For this school project, Avery decided to interview her internet friends and ask them questions regarding gender identity and the gender binary. The first question being, how would you describe your gender?
I would describe it as fluid. Like, I'd be down to identify as pretty much anything, but I never identify as fully male or female. To be honest, it's fluid between multiple genders, like masculine, feminine, and even androgynous, because some days I'll be going to more feminine kind of gender, and then other days it will be more masculine, you know? So it's kind of like that. It's hard to explain if you haven't experienced it.
Fluid. Sometimes it changes and sometimes it stays the same for a temporary amount of time.
I describe my gender as just non-binary, maybe just like leaning a bit toward male, like not leaning in exactly, sexuality-wise, but more just being okay with he, him pronouns. But I really, really prefer they, them. And it's pretty much a demi boy, yeah. Even though I've wanted to be just non-binary, I realized that I kind of want to keep a bit of the boy side in me.
One of our interviewees wasn't able to record their answers and instead had to write them out, so I'll be saying their answers out loud for them. I think I'd describe it as fluid. Some days I feel more feminine, others I feel more masculine, and sometimes I'm in the middle. It depends. Next up we have, how have others reacted to your gender?
I haven't told a lot of people, but I have told my friends and they all have been very supportive and accepting.
I didn't come out to anyone in real life yet, but through the internet, everyone has been very super supportive, and they made me feel very welcome and very accepted with my gender, which really helped me with my sometimes dysphoric real life. And I realized that I really can be what I want, which is just not exactly someone who goes in the binary spectrum.
The general reaction on people, especially older people, is confusion, but I'm lucky enough to have supportive people who are willing to listen and learn and accept me.
I've mainly gotten hate from exclusionists saying I'm not valid and spicy cisgender, but I know that I am valid and a lot of my friends think I'm valid. I don't know about my parents or family though, I have not come out to them, but yeah.
How and when did you find out you weren't cisgender? Basically, I felt like this my whole life, but I always thought I was like a gay boy or something until I turned 13. I made a Tumblr blog and I found a post explaining gender, and it included gender fluidity. It was so crazy to see something that described me perfectly, so I read about it and found out I was actually trans.
Actually, I found out exactly was the summer, I'm pretty sure it was it must have been 2020. Wait, no, sorry. Summer 2019, summer 2020 just happened. Summer 2019, I was just like rethinking about all the moments I had when I was little, when I was just like basically being a bit girlish and not exactly to what male or boy was like, and I liked being like that, like not really being into stereotypes, and I knew that it wasn't toxic masculinity or that I wanted to stay male. I had a part of me that just wasn't exactly male, and I thought it was female till then, but now I know that I do, like, just not want to identify, really. Just a bit, of associations and male stuff, but that's it. Like, I majorly just want to be in the middle, not even in the middle, like, just not be in binary, like, not, how do you say this, not stay, I guess you can say, committed to genders that are given to us by society for the past, like, what, forever. I want to be something in between.
Around 2 years ago, I started watching Calvin Guerra. I know that's a bad way to start out, but I started watching him, and then I realized, oh wait, I'm not cisgender, I'm actually trans, and then I came out to my friends letting me know, and I started using other pronouns that I was comfy with.
Last year, it was very rough for me, and I'd always sit at 2 a.m. questioning my gender identity and what pronouns I like to go by.
Now, to see what they think of the binary genders.
I don't think we should enforce a binary, but I think that the idea of men and women is still fine, as long as we acknowledge that there is stuff in between that, and there are multiple genders other than just two. So, men and women, completely valid, but it's not the only two genders.
I don't mind them, as long as people are happy with them. But I don't want to be forced upon them, Like, I just want to do my own thing. I want to be just out of it, Not be forced to be either this or that. I'm fucking both. Like, just don't really want to say that I am. I just want to say that I'm just not really confirming into this.
I think they're very valid, and I support anyone who uses them or does not.
I think in a way, they're too restrictive. The more I think about it, the more I realize there's no reason for it to exist. Gender isn't binary, and it never has been. Time to ask them, does your gender identity have a flag?
Yes, my gender identity does have a flag, and it is very beautiful.
Yes, my gender identity has a flag.
Yeah, I technically use xenogenders, but I don't really describe it as my complete gender identity, if that makes sense. It's part of it, but yeah, they do have flags, and they're pretty cool.
Yes, my gender identity does have a flag. Demi Boy one definitely does. It's white in the middle, 2 cyan, it's basically a 7 stripes, 1 in the middle, 2 above and under it are cyan and a bit more cyan baby blue. Then it's light gray, and it just goes up to gray until it reaches the end of it. And the non-binary one is, I think, one of the most beautiful ones. It is, it's purple. Hold on, sorry, I'm not focusing. It's purple, white, yellow, black. Sorry, wrong order. It's actually yellow, white, purple, black. I always get confused with those, but it's one of the most beautiful ones, I think. Like, I didn't like it at the start, but now, like, I have a ton of appreciation for it, and I just overall love it.
Last, but definitely not least, why do you think some people don't understand or accept gender identities?
Well, actually, I think, in my opinion, people don't accept really gender identities is because it's different, because it's changing the norm. People don't like change, like, mostly. People just want things to stay the same. People didn't like it when the pandemic happened, when they had to wear masks all day. They hated it, some of them. Some of them just flat out just didn't wear them at all, which was, a violation code, fucking whatever. But thing being, humans don't really like change, at least not most of us, and considering how most of us grew up with such a, base kind of binary, that we don't want to change that. At least most people who are cis don't really see how people just don't really have dysphoria or understand that they belong in the wrong gender or something. Like it's weird because like some cis people are allies and they really do believe and they really do support and they understand, but some are just like not just don't understand, but they're very sorry, I forgot the word. They're very consistent with their thought that it's just not acceptable, which I find really weird. Like, I think society just seriously needs to move on from the typical binary stuff. Maybe not force it, because like I feel like forcing it will just give it a lot of more hate. But regulating it, normalizing it, I think will be the best thing to do, and making sure that the future generations to come won't be this hateful and be a lot more open.
I say to them that just understand that gender is a spectrum and it's completely unique to each individual. The binary was enforced by society and it is not a... Science has shown that we each experience gender in a different way, and the gender binary is a complete social construct, so just be accepting and be open to understand stuff. That's all.
I think the first thing that comes to mind is religion. It does at first start with religion and it goes to society saying there are only two genders. But I think we can all be accepted if people try to understand us more.
Because the whole biological sex equals gender thing has been pushed onto us for hundreds of years, it sadly became the norm, and everything else was seen as something wrong. Being trans has only been covered by the media in a positive light in the past decade, and that's why so many people don't even try to understand us.